You're listening to the Quint's podcast.
The ongoing political crisis in Punjab Congress has drawn concern from across the Grand Old Party, pertinently on the functioning of its leadership. Just 2 days after the surprise resignation of Navjot Singh Sidhu, G23 members voiced their anger on the leadership vacuum at the helm of the party, with senior leaders like Kapil Sibal stating that they are not blind supporters of the party and are definitely not quote-unquote Ji Huzoor-23. To add to the list of worries, the party is also witnessing an exodus of veteran leaders from key bastions of Goa and Punjab just months away from 2022 elections. Although at the same time, the party has been making some strides in inducting fresh young faces in Kanhaniya Kumar and Jignesh Mevani, but the lack of confidence in the party's high command is erupting across the country. In our previous episode, we took a deep dive into what led to Sidhu's resignation and its political impact on the Punjab Congress. In today's episode, we're going to take a macro view of the crisis in Congress party, the role of the new inductees, and what the party needs to do to right their ship. For this, we spoke to senior journalist Anita Katyal. You're tuned in to The Big Story, the podcast where we dissect the headline making news for you, and I'm your host, Himmat. Let's pick up from where the developments of 29 September ended, with the veteran Congress leader Kapil Sibal representing the disgruntled G23 group and publicly voicing the group's displeasure in the leadership vacuum in the party. Referring to the Punjab Congress crisis, Sibal openly questioned on who is calling the shots. He said, and I quote, "In our party, there is no precedent, so we don't know who is making these decisions. We know, and yet we don't know." His statement was also followed by a letter to Sonia Gandhi by senior Congress leader and former leader of opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad, asking for a working committee meeting at the earliest to discuss the leadership crisis in Punjab. Now, the G23, who are a group of Congress leaders, have been very vocal over the past year about the dwindling party leadership. In their letter addressed to Sonia Gandhi last year, the G23 group asked for sweeping changes in the leadership and sought a full-time, quote-unquote, effective leadership for the party which is active and visible on the ground. However, Sibal's comments also triggered a war of words within the Congress party itself, with Party General Secretary Ajay Makan hitting back at Sibal, saying such leaders should not denigrate the organization and the very leadership that gave them political identity. The infighting between G23 leaders and the Gandhi loyalists even escalated to a Twitter spat. But perhaps with all the ongoing in-party spats, what is becoming adequately clear is the fact that the Congress party is in utter disarray. And it's not just Punjab that is entangled in a leadership crisis. Take Goa, for example, which is headed to polls along with Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, and Uttarakhand, where the Congress is trying to create a foothold. In 2017, the Congress was the largest party in the Goa State Assembly with 17 MLAs. However, in just 4 years, that number has shrunk to 4. It started with the defection of 10 MLAs to the Bharatiya Janata Party, and now with assembly elections just around the corner, the party lost their biggest ticket, former Goa Chief Minister Faleria to the Trinamool Congress on the same day Sidhu resigned. And the list of senior Congress leaders either resigning or jumping ship is only getting longer, from Jyotiraditya Scindia to Jitin Prasad, Sushmita Dev, Abhijit Mukherjee, Suvra Ghosh. The party has lost many crucial leaders. Even young leaders in the Congress, like Hardik Patel, who is the current working president of Gujarat Congress, in a recent interview with the Indian Express complained about feeling quote-unquote isolated from the senior leadership and a lack of support for the local elections. And each of the defectors have also signaled a lack of confidence in the Congress High Command. So why has the top leadership been so inept, especially in its bastions of Goa and Punjab? Senior journalist Anita Katyal believes that due to Rahul Gandhi's failure to win any elections for the party, which led to a prolonged weakening of the central leadership and more exits as leaders lost faith in future campaigns.
First, I would like to tell you something, Himmat, about the history of factionalism in the Congress. The earlier years, especially during Indira Gandhi's time, they used to encourage factionalism because that gave control to the central leadership because everybody was there. I mean, everybody came running to Delhi to resolve their issues. So it was kind of encouraged. So it's kind of ingrained in the Congress culture where you have two power centers, so give some balance to power in a particular state unit or in a state. And it's always this, the person who's heading the state unit vis-a-vis the chief minister. So that's always been the case. But what has happened in this case is that it has got completely out of hand. And Mrs. Gandhi was able to contain it to some extent because she was a status quoist. She listened to everybody. She called everybody for meetings and she kind of delayed things. She sat on matters, as a result of which things managed to cool down, tempers cool down. And also, don't forget that Sonia Gandhi managed to bring the party to power for 2 terms. What has happened during Rahul's tenure, even if he was not the president earlier, he was the face of the party and he was heading the campaigns. He has not won any election. He has not been, the Gandhis have always been seen as an asset to the party as long as they won them elections and they kept the party united. In this particular case, Rahul has failed. It's not once, but it's twice, and it's several states as well. So the central leadership has weakened to a large extent. And that is the reason why people are now asserting themselves. And, the battles, they're kind of fighting pitched battles literally in the streets. And in Delhi is just unable to control them, so that is, and in some cases, for instance, in whether it's Chhattisgarh or it is Rajasthan, Ashok Gehlot uh, as well as Bhupesh Baghel have a very strong following among among the MLAs. So it's very difficult for them, So they are leaders in their own right in their own states, so they can't be kind of pushed around very easily. So there are multiple factors, but basically the weakening of the central leadership.
Both the BJP and the Congress in the past few months have been in makeover mode to get ready for the upcoming assembly elections in 2022. While both parties use social engineering tactics in rejigging the state cabinet for fighting off anti-incumbency calls and for preparing for the upcoming polls, there have been stark differences in the execution of these political measures and how their state units have responded. Let's take the case of Punjab Congress. For almost a year now, the High Command was aware of the growing unpopularity and a lack in confidence that the state unit had in Captain Amarinder Singh's chief ministership due to his lack of accessibility and leadership style. And that led to more infighting in Punjab Congress, leading to a very long and public spat between Navjot Singh Sidhu and a sitting Congress chief minister. In the end, the captain resigned from his party of 4 decades for feeling quote unquote humiliated by the leadership. While the other national party, the BJP, had a very different approach. Take the BJP's caste balancing moves in Karnataka and Gujarat, changing the entire cabinet, including the chief minister in the latter, and also recently in Uttar Pradesh, where it expanded the cabinet by inducting Congress veteran Jitin Prasad. And let's not forget Uttarakhand, where it changed the chief minister twice within 4 months just this past year. Anita Katyal believes that in the case of the BJP, the central leadership with Amit Shah and PM Narendra Modi at helm is very powerful. Thus, state units do not dare to speak out against any changes, fearing a political backlash. But in the case of Congress, it is the complete opposite.
Well, I think it will come back to what my basic point, which I said earlier: weakening of the party structure, the leadership. The central leadership. When the central leadership is weak, then state leaders will obviously go their own way, and it will be difficult to kind of put them down or contain their battles. So that's exactly what has happened there. In the case of BJP, what is happening is that Modi and Shah are very powerful and very strong. People in the states, largely, so far, to some extent, it was proved wrong in the state elections, but at least on the MPs, they have been winning on the basis of Modi's charisma. It's I remember the UP MPs used to say, it was a joke among UP MPs, used to say, oh, so and so, he's the newcomer, he's come on a Modi pass. He's here on a Modi pass. Because, and in Gujarat particularly, it's Modi's home state. Modi and Shah have a huge stake over there. So they cannot allow any kind of untoward incident or anybody speaking out of turn over there. They have to be in control, and which is why they made a special effort and they ensured that there was not a whimper. Although there were some initial there was initial talk that people were unhappy at being replaced when there was a whole scale change of the cabinet over there, and it had to be delayed by a day. But it was sorted out very quietly and peacefully. I'm sure people were unhappy about it, but they haven't kind of hit the streets to show their unhappiness, which is because they know that they cannot get away with it, and there's a very powerful leadership, which is kind of keeping tabs.
Now, the Congress party has tried to rejig their party image recently with the induction of former JNU Student Union President Kanhaniya Kumar and independent MLA from Gujarat Jignesh Mevani. Both the young faces have a track record of speaking against the BJP. For example, Kumar has led several anti-CA rallies in Bihar, and Mevani, who represents the Vadgam constituency in North Gujarat, has been fighting for Dalit land rights for the past few years. But what is the political significance of these two young faces in the Congress? At a time when they are losing veteran leaders, what does the Congress seek to gain from the inductions? Anita Katyal weighs in.
Firstly, I think the Congress made a big deal about them, especially for Rahul Gandhi. It was a big deal because he, several members of what were perceived to be his team members. I mean, leaders who were perceived to be his team members like Jyotiraditya, Jitin Prasad, Sushmita, they were seemed to be very close to him, and they did not hesitate to lead the party. So, at a stage like this, when you are getting two young leaders who are pretty well known in the country, they are not nobodies. At least they're brand names. They are recognized among the youth. They are firebrand speakers. They're good orators, and they're good Hindi speaking orators. And that is what the Congress needed very desperately. And more than that, they have a certain raw energy about them, particularly Kanhaiya. And they speak in the idiom of the grassroots people. They connect with the people. So that was very important. The Congress needed somebody like that. And so getting them was a bit of a coup. I mean, I would say, I wouldn't call it a coup, but okay, you can, for Rahul Gandhi at this particular stage. Of course, it has its pitfalls because the Congress, I mean, it's not very easy to survive in a place like Congress, in a party like Congress, because there are always people who are kind of sniping at you and waiting for you to make one mistake and trip you up. So that they'll be kind of under a lot of scrutiny, and any minor mistake they make, they can be they could be in trouble. And so that issue is there. But the other factor is that there is also a fear. I don't know if it's a fear, but it is being made out to be. It's being exaggerated, I feel a little, that how Rahul is been, there's a leftward slant in his worldview, and that Kanhaiya Kumar, with Kanhaiya Kumar and Jignesh Mevani over there. No, as it is, it has been happening earlier, because I remember one reason why Mamta was not particularly enamored with Rahul Gandhi was that because he was very friendly and he was very influenced by Sitaram. So that factor is there. The fact that he's leaning too much to the left, and these days communist and communism is a dirty word. When actually in the past, Congress has taken the support of the left, and the left has extended, allied with the Congress in many ways. So and many left leaders, or especially JNU leaders, student leaders, have joined the Congress in the past as well. So I think it's also because these people have been picked by Rahul Gandhi, so that's why a lot is being made about their entry. That they will be, of course, used by the party extensively during the election. But I'm not sure whether, I mean, they're good speakers, they'll get a lot of crowds, but I'm not sure whether they can get votes for the party. That is to be seen, whether the crowds will convert into votes. So there's a big question about that.
In less than 100 days, Goa, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Himachal, and Gujarat are heading to polls. And for the Grand Old Party, the BJP is no longer the only opponent. Both Aam Aadmi Party and Trinamool Congress are also making long strides to step into the national arena. But given the political crisis which the Congress is submerged in at present, what does it need to do to continue being politically relevant in the coming years? Anita Katyal believes that the first change needs to be at the top of the party, which needs to be accessible to all levels of the leadership.
Firstly, I think they need a new leadership. I don't think the Gandhis, this lot of Gandhis, Rahul and Priyanka, are not proving to be such a success. I don't think they are in a position to lead the party, or they need to do much more than just tweet and then go off on a holiday or whatever. They have to be 24/7, and they have to be accessible and people, to the workers, But that is one thing. The other is you need to first think of an ideological counter to the BJP. I mean, besides putting your own house in order, you're strengthening your organization, getting regional leaders, starting with the states, you start with the states and getting inducting leaders or grooming young leaders or another generation of leaders. But you also need a ideological counter to the BJP, which is totally lacking.
The crisis in the Congress party is speculated to continue for the coming days, with the fate of Navjot Singh Sidhu's role in the Punjab Congress still in the dark. Stay tuned to the Quint and the Big Story podcast for more updates. If you like listening to this episode, please subscribe to the Big Story for episodic updates. We're available on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Geo7, and most of the other popular podcast streaming platforms. For other podcasts, please log on to the Quint website, and for any feedback, please shoot an email to podcast@thequint.com.
Thanks for listening. Log on to the Quint's website and check out our other podcasts.